Friends, welcome. The St. Mary's the Virgin production studio presents the final edition of the series, Ministering to the Whole, the body, mind, and spirit, all three in one. Our presenter to wrap up the series is Miss Dianne Pottinger. Dianne is an accountant, church treasurer, mother, Christian, acolyte, and has dreams of being an opera singer. Why dream small? Dianne is going to walk us through how we can learn from this crisis, become better prepared for future challenges, like blankets of sand without a visa traveling from afar, and where we can go from here. So it's not the end, but we hope that from this series we are now better equipped in body, mind, and spirit to face the challenges as individuals and as a family of God's children. Please enjoy and share and like the message of love and faith. God bless.
Welcome all to this, our eighth and final presentation in our series, Ministering to the Whole. Today's presentation is entitled COVID Remix, as we seek to extract the positives from this crisis. COVID-19 is a pandemic of historic proportions that will become a pivotal point in many persons' lives and careers. Things surely will not be the same. No getting around it. We are definitely in a crisis. These are hard times. But what is sure is that there will be life after COVID-19. How we emerge on the other side of the pandemic will depend on how we navigate these months. Are we merely going through it, or are we growing through it? COVID-19 has been around since late last year, and there has been 4 identified phases. The first phase was reaction. This is the stage where there was panic, shock, fear, closure of businesses, and even countries. Governments all around the world outlined plans to combat COVID-19. This was followed by the resilience phase. This period is characterized by government protocols and measures of curtailment, mainly through stay-at-home orders, social distancing, and work from home. These 2 phases, when combined, forms the reactive adoption phase, where we are in survival mode, merely making the necessary changes to keep afloat. The third phase, that of recovery, is where most countries, including Jamaica, are currently at. In this phase, we will see the managed opening of economies. The curve is flattened and restrictions are relaxed. We start to imagine the new norm, bracing for rapid re-engineering of businesses. This period is expected to last well into 2021. The final phase is the new normal. This is where COVID-19 is now being managed. In this phase, we have adapted to new ways of being, new realities of how communities and businesses will operate in the future. These 2 latter phases combined forms the proactive innovation phase, where the economy begins to thrive, innovations are developed, and the new norms are being institutionalized. We must therefore seek to extract the opportunities from the crisis. It was Albert Einstein who said, "In the midst of every crisis lies great opportunities." It is therefore for us to see them and seize them. A crisis pushes us out of our comfort zone and into our creative zone. This is where we get creative with our thinking and bold in our decisions. You see, a crisis never leaves you the same. it either moves you forward or backward, upward or downward, but what is sure, it moves you, hopefully to higher ground. Also, we must convert this adversity into advantages. Every adversity comes with a seed of a greater advantage just waiting to burst forth. It is important to turn this tragedy into triumph. It was Scott Sorrell who said, "Every tragedy contains the seeds of triumph. These seeds lie within us because we have greatness within us. You're stronger than you think." Sometimes it's through tragedy that we find our purpose, our way, our why. Today, we will claim the opportunities and advantages from this crisis as we seek to become triumphant. In our remix of COVID, we will do just that. C stands for community and creativity. There's never been another time that we have been so dependent on each other for our own survival as we are now. This crisis has reinforced our humanity and our commonality. O is for opportunities and optimism. We have been given the opportunity of time to slow down and reflect. Get off the treadmill of life so that we can be intentional in how we spend that time. Whether it is personal time for self-care and to upgrade ourselves, family time to spend quality time with family and loved ones, catch-up time with projects around the home and spring cleaning, adding value time, this is my favorite, where we can be intentional about giving back and adding value to others with a call, visit, or care packages. Thinking time for introspection and reflection and redirecting our lives with optimism. Faith time to build our trust muscles, fortify our gratitude, and deepen our prayer life. V is for victory and vitality. The reality is a lot of persons will survive this virus. Our scientists will be victorious with a cure eventually. Our healthcare workers and frontline workers have already been victors. The very fact that we get up each day and can be positive is indeed a victory and a testimony of our vitality. I is for innovation and inspiration. We have seen Ford Automotive shifted their facilities to the making of ventilators. Amazon has placed on the back burner the delivery of books to focus on the delivery of masks and sanitizers. These innovations have moved these companies from being merely profitable companies to significant companies. D is for discipline and dedication. Personal discipline and dedication developed now with the wearing of masks or social distancing will serve us well in the post-COVID era. The future. I am not clairvoyant by any means, and I don't think any of you have a crystal ball. Therefore, none of us know with 100% certainty how the next year will unfold. However, the futurist amongst us has been speculating how the economies of the world will rebound, and they have used letters of the alphabet to describe it. If the resurgence of the economy is quick after reopening, then it's denoted a V shape, reflecting a sharp upturn from that economic low point. However, if the economy lingers in the downturn and enters a recession, then a U shape is assigned, where the bottom of the U represents that period of prolonged economic activity. On the other hand, if the country suffers a second spike of COVID-19 upon reopening, then a W is assigned, reflecting 2 periods of downturn. All of that is left to be seen. However, we have had glimpses of the future in some other areas, such as online being the new frontier. We have seen increased traffic in e-commerce for existing businesses, and we have also seen new entrants of non-traditional businesses, such as online healthcare, schools, graduations, worships, funerals, parties, and meetings. How prepared are you? Work from home. Many companies were forced to implement work from home, whereas many of us will return to the office as we enter the third phase of COVID-19. Other organizations may embrace this new working arrangement on a continuous basis. How prepared are you? Companies are now busy retrofitting their offices to be compliant with the 6 feet apart protocol, sanitization stations, temperature checks, and of course the enforcement of the wearing of masks. Last week, I happened to be in the bank for the first time since COVID, and it's interesting to see the bank representatives behind glass barriers, similar to what used to be many years ago. Old-time things come back again. Banks are now even more proactive in pushing customers online. How prepared are you? Emerging jobs. Some jobs will disappear altogether. Some jobs will be significantly changed. New jobs will emerge. New business opportunities will present themselves. Some companies will die and others will be created. How prepared are you? So now that we have a glimpse of some of the changes that we might be facing, we can all agree that the norm as we know it will not return. So how do we try to future-proof ourselves? Let's consider 3 ways. Mindset. We have already discussed the importance of having a positive mindset in an earlier presentation, but we also need to have a growth mindset. A growth mindset is one where we are willing to unlearn and relearn new ways of approaching an old task. Mindset is a matter of perspective. How we view things is how we do things. For example, 2 persons will be in the same adverse situation. One will take the adversity and turn it into an advantage. Another sees the adversity as discouraging and becomes disheartened. A positive perspective upgrades every bad experience. Skill set. Your soft skills will become increasingly important in the workplace post-COVID. LinkedIn has listed the top 5 soft skills needed for 2020 in order as creativity, collaboration, persuasion, adaptability, emotional intelligence. They have also predicted 4 of the top 5 hard skills to be IT related. On the other hand, Forbes magazine top 8 job skills as 3 IT skills and 5 soft skills. The soft skills are adaptability, creativity, critical thinking, leadership, emotional intelligence. You will note the similarities of these 2 sources. A World Economic Forum article reported that in 5 years' time, 35% of the skills deemed essential today will change. Gone are the days of lifetime jobs. Will set. This speaks to your inner drive, your tenacity, your gumption, your never say die attitude, that fire in the belly. If we don't embrace this new normal, we will be left behind. Because if there's a new normal, then there needs to be a new you. Preparing for the aftermath. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to get an opportunity and not be prepared. There is a need for all of us to assess where we are in relation to the new norm and our preparedness. Retirees, assess if you have the skills that will be required in a digitized world. Banking transactions are moving more online. Government services will increasingly become more digitized. The paying of bills and even church services are now online. To own and to navigate a smartphone will become essential, not only to conduct business, but also to keep in touch with family and friends. For the working cohort, questions we all should be asking ourselves. Is my company likely to survive this crisis? If they do, are they likely to downsize? Is my job likely to be retained? Will there be new engagements of work, such as flexible work hours, work from home, project-based work, contracts versus full employment? Are my current skills marketable for new employment? Am I at the optimum age for re-employment? You either prepare today or repair tomorrow. So for the working cohort, there is a need to match your current skill set against the LinkedIn and Forbes listing. This is the time to review and refresh your resume. Find the gaps and close them. Retool. Find online classes and webinars in this downtime. There are many free offerings. Now is the time to equip yourself, upskill and reskill. Invest in rebranding you. Time to level up. There is no time for complacency. This should be a very proactive time for the employed as you strategize, reposition, and rebrand yourself to take advantage of the rapid growth predicted in the fourth phase of COVID and all the opportunities that are birthed out of this crisis. There needs to be a sense of urgency. It was Winston Churchill who said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." Preparedness for own business. If you're unable to retool or otherwise outside the employed numbers, are you ready to start your own business? Are you ready to be your own boss? Start thinking now how to up-level that small side business. Consider converting a hobby into a viable business. Re-examine that business idea that has been shelved for years. Explore your passions for new business ideas. Already in business? How can you remix and upscale or differentiate your offerings? What new opportunities has arisen post-COVID? Remember, have an open mind. Do not lock yourself out of opportunities. Likely emerging jobs post-COVID. So what are some of the possible emerging jobs? Online working. Opportunities will arise in varying industries across a wide spectrum. Online is the new frontier. Do not limit your job search to local companies only. Automated jobs. Skilled workers will be required as robots and artificial intelligence replaces some jobs. Delivery services. Curbside deliveries and pickups are here to stay. Online wellness. Health, nutrition, and fitness experts will all be in demand as wellness takes center stage. Financial planners. As persons try to rebound financially from COVID-19 and future-proof against another crisis, financial advisors will be sought after. Online teaching. Opportunities will abound at all levels of the education system, from primary to tertiary. Farming. The spotlight will be turned on farming as the need to feed ourselves is reinforced. Life coaches. There will definitely be new demands as people will need hope and redirection as they are forced to pivot through the changes of COVID-19. IT. All aspects of technology will be on the upsurge. Sometimes the fear won't go away, but you have to do it afraid. I know some of you might be anxious about the digital online space. You might even be afraid, but you have to do it afraid anyway. My social media skills at May 2020, at the beginning of this series, was similar to that of my singing skills. And for those of you who know me, that's not a good place to be. Digitization is where the explosion is happening. So I know if there is going to be a new norm around online, there has to be a new me. One of the many curveballs COVID-19 has thrown us is that presentations have moved online. Talk about being thrown out of my comfort zone. Having used PowerPoint for years to do face-to-face presentations, I did not know that they were recording, audio, or converting to video features. I did not know what I did not know. But what I do know is that getting comfortable doing presentations online or navigating the digital space is too critical to the new norm for me to be going into the future handicapped in this way. I knew I had to go through the pain and struggle of a steep learn curve if I am to thrive and survive in the post-COVID era. I was brought close to tears on several occasions during the preparation of the first presentation. But I had the full support of my 12-year-old cheerleader, who would stay up with me in the nights and kept saying, "Mom, you have to think positive. You have to do it, Mom. I'm so proud of you, Mom." Yes, a young motivator in the making. What else is the mom to do but to push past her fears? So I can understand in some ways your anxiety, and I do empathize. I encourage you to seek the support you need to get started. I am much better now in June than I was in May. Not perfect, but growing. Better than my singing, but not as good as my dancing. You have to do it. Do it afraid. So, how do you stay energized for the long haul of going into 2021 and maybe beyond? Avoid a negative mindset. A negative mindset will never give you a positive life. It only weighs you down and pulls you down. It makes you lose focus and dwell on the mistakes of the past instead of seeing new opportunities. On the contrary, embrace a positive mindset. Positive thinking results in positive outcome. A positive mindset allows you to live with the crisis more gracefully. It promotes courage to move forward. To remain energized, put into practice the lessons of resilience covered in part 1. Reframe how you look at the situation. Practice the acronym REFRESH of body, mind, and soul, and renew your spirit daily. Ride the wave of the change cycle covered in part 2. Work hard to keep yourself on the right side of the curve. Don't be discouraged if you slip back to the left side. With courage and resilience, go back through the valley of decision and rise again. So, how do you strategize? Employ the management tool of PER, P-E-R, Plan, Execute, Review. Make a plan, execute your plan, review your plan. Choose your path, then focus. Follow one course until successful. You are required to change, to pivot on many fronts, but you're not merely changing, but rather you are becoming. Becoming who you were created to be, becoming the future version of yourself, becoming your best self, every day taking a step closer. For you to become your best self, you must be prepared to let go, quit things that no longer fit, no longer adding value to you. Take deep breaths and let them fall away from you. In our process of becoming, we have to be aware of our choices and the energies that we are putting out into the universe. Let your inner light shine through. Faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. We don't know what the future holds, and in times of uncertainty, fear will naturally increase. But we have a choice. We can choose to grow our faith and starve our fears. Fear takes a crisis and magnifies it. Faith, on the other hand, takes a crisis and minimizes it. As with everything in life, what is fed and nurtured will grow and get stronger because faith and fear cannot thrive in the same mind. As Nick Vujicic said, faith is the full assurance in the heart. We started this COVID series of Ministering to the Whole 8 weeks ago. We have had 6 different presenters over the 8 sessions. That has given us COVID tools for our toolbox. Dr. Knight Reese got us started with the first tool of our toolbox, the myth and facts of COVID, and caring for someone with the virus. That was followed by the 5 tools of resilience presented by myself. Our mental health during COVID was angled by Dr. Alex Gardner, where we were given the tools to identify the early signs of depression and to name our feelings. I gave you the tools to equip you to ride the roller coaster of change. Mr. Gregory gave us tools to shore up our financial status. Mrs. Green guided us with tools of estate planning and getting our house in order. Miss Charmaine Edwards reminded us that our health is our wealth and proper nutrition is the tools of healthy living. In this our 8th and final presentation, we are remixing COVID by giving you the tools to seek the opportunities in this crisis, extract the advantages from the adversity, and turn the tragedy into triumph. You have been provided with the tools. It's now time to build. Build yourself to a stronger, better you. We're all in the same storm, but I dare say all in different boats. Some of us are in the boat of stay-at-home orders, but with family around. Others are in the boat of stay-at-home orders, but isolated and alone. Some are in prime health. Some are in the comorbidities boat. Some are still employed at full salary. Others have had their salary reduced. Even others are in the laid-off boat. Some had the recommended 3 to 6 months salary saved. Others are moving paycheck to paycheck. Some are still navigating the left side of the change curve with fear and depression. Some are letting go of the past in the valley of decision. Still others have started climbing on the right side of the change cycle to reattach to the future. And we are all at different parts of the faith versus fear journey. But what is sure, we have all been moved by the crisis and therefore need to change and accept the new norms. My challenge to you today is to re-listen all 8 presentations and take at least 2 bits of advice from each that you can immediately apply to your life. Use these to create your very own personal COVID action plan, PCAP. Depending on which boat you are in, some presentations may be more relevant to you. However, I encourage you to look for the good in each. They all contain solid advice. As you earnestly apply your PCAP, Personal COVID Action Plan, reimagine your future, vision your best self, growing, going forward. But whatever you do, stay positive and take action. A vision without action is hallucination. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Some persons wake up to an alarm clock. Others wake up to their purpose of becoming. A crisis pushes us out of our comfort zone, but that's where growth begins. A crisis reintroduces you to yourself. It moves you, hopefully, to higher ground. Not every day will be good, but every day has good in it. Be blessed. Thank you.